I went on a date. So before I even talk about the date, I've been divorced going on 6 years. I haven't dated because, I had kids and my mom I was taking care of, and my kids are grown. My mom has passed. It's just me and my dogs. So it's my time, like I'm 53. It's time for me to like meet somebody and like I want to be loved just like everybody else. Everybody wants to be loved. I want to be loved. But I want to love someone. I want to put my all into someone and they give me their all back. To the date. Horrendous. Horrendous. Go on a date. It actually was a really nice date up until the end of the date when he proceeded to tell me that I would be really pretty if I lost some weight. I would be really hella sexy if I lost some weight. I don't need to lose weight. I'm pretty happy in my skin. I have no limitations on myself. I go in the pool. I go on the beach. I don't give a shit. This is my body. I'm proud of myself. And ain't nobody gonna make me feel less than. Because I know my worth. Now, am I gonna date? Maybe. I don't know. It's scary out there. People are icky. And, like, nobody wants to be rejected. But to be an asshole, like, damn, dude, you're ugly on the inside. The inside. And that's where it really counts.
Dating after 50 is strange because the problem is not just men, and it is not just women either. The problem is that the dating world in general has become this messy mix of unrealistic expectations, old wounds, low effort, high standards, bad communication, and people wanting real love without always being fully realistic about what that actually requires.
Do you guys want to know what it's like dating after 50? Either they're damaged, they smell funny, or they still think they're worth full price. I mean, like, what the hell?
So I'm not one to judge anyone, or I'm the least judgmental person. But what's kind of odd to me, which I don't know, I think maybe because I'm older, is when you go on a date with someone who's, your age or older, but they drive a beater. Like just an old car that's, for example, it could be like an old Jeep that's 2 doors, beat up, been rained on, everything else. I don't know, I just feel like you should be a little bit more established in that. But yet you belong to an expensive country club. Not quite sure how you drive the car there, because that's just how people are when you go to those clubs. So, I don't know. I mean, is it wrong to like expect the guy to have at least the same type of car, or I guess same, at least not a beater, right?
I went on a couple dates the past week, and I thought I wanted to get back out in the dating world, but I think I'm going to have to go back into seclusion. And here's the main reason why. I've been divorced 8 years, and I have worked really hard on improving myself and becoming a better person and solving some of the big problems in my life. And when I sit across the table from these men who are, I think one was maybe 48, but the other one was 58, and an attorney, and other ones that I've talked to online to try to get to know them, it is a long list of problems. They're unhappy with their life. They're working too much. They've never taken a vacation. They are estranged from their children, or they're still connected somehow to their ex-wife, maybe shuffling a dog back and forth, or living 3 blocks from their ex-wife. I just don't want any of that. I just want simple. I just want a happy guy. I just want a happy man that can hang out and have fun. But they're struggling. If they're on dating apps, most likely they're struggling. Because if they're happy, they've already found a great woman. So that, I believe, is my...
Dating at 50 plus, it's no way you should have kids younger than 18. Not to date me. I can't speak for nobody else, okay? But when a 55-year-old man is complaining about still paying child support because he have a kid under 5, sis, that's your sign. That's your red flag to get up and walk away. That's your sign. That's your red flag that this may not be a relationship for you. Because when at this ripe old age, I am not sitting up here trying to figure out who gonna babysit or who gonna watch the kid while we go out. Or if we want to go out of the country or go out of town, we need a babysitter. At this age, we should be looking forward to or expecting soon grandkids and babysitting them occasionally and returning them respectfully when the time is up and when we worn out. Not sitting up here wondering, well, we got to find a babysitter, how long it's going to take, and is it your weekend to get the kid, and did you pay your child support, and did it go up when your income went up, and how much is the child support? That should not be the conversation that you're having with the man you're dating. At least not the man I would choose to date. I would want somebody that where I am in life, that we can enjoy a different quality of life. If we're picking up the grandkids, that's different. If we're going to their little league or we're supporting them with their cookie sale, that's different. But to have a child of yours that is under 5 or is under 18 and we're 50 plus, that's just not the journey. That's not the life journey I see for myself. So I will not entertain those men who have children under 18 and are still paying child support, even the back child support. Unless you can tell me that there was you lost a job for a period and you got a little offset by your child support. But to have rare child support at this ripe age, really, it usually tells a whole gap of time where you disconnected and you were not connected or financially responsible for your child. And that tells me something to me about you. You know, there are signs, there are flags, signs that should be alerting you to no longer entertain the conversation, to stop, pause, delete, block, whatever, ghost. There are signs, sis. Dating at 50 plus, you should be aware of certain signs and know when to walk away or no longer entertain the conversation or definitely not give them your number.
One of the biggest things this video shows is that dating after 50 is not just hard because the pool is smaller. It is hard because by this age, people are bringing a lot with them. They are bringing divorces, disappointments, habits, pride, trauma, routines, financial baggage, health issues, trust issues, family situations, and a very fixed idea of what they think they want. And to be fair, some of that is wisdom. People should know more by this age. People should have standards. People should have boundaries. But I also think some people confuse standards with rigidity. They confuse discernment with being impossible. They confuse knowing their worth with refusing to examine their own flaws. And that goes both ways. There are definitely men out here with audacity and low effort and weird behavior. But there are also women who want a man to be emotionally available, financially secure, attractive, healthy, romantic, intentional, tall, confident, healed, consistent, and obsessed with them while not always bringing that same level of self-awareness, softness, accountability, or realism to the table themselves.
I went speed dating on Saturday night, and it was an interesting experience. Before you get excited, no, I did not meet the love of my life. Some of the men were rip-roaring drunk. One spilt his drink on me. A lot have not healed things that they really need to heal. A couple were so creepy that I spent half the conversation planning my escape route. There were a few lovely men there too, but nobody that I connected with. Yet honestly, I had a great night and I'd do it again. Because I got dressed up and I left the house. I laughed, I talked to strangers, and I met more women than men that I'd actually like to see again. The funny thing is that for the first time in my life, I'm not centering men. I'm 49, I'm recently divorced, and I'm genuinely the happiest I've ever been. I'm not looking for someone to complete my life. I'm building a life that already feels complete, a life filled with friends, adventure, career, stories, connection, focusing on my beautiful young adult children. If a man wants to be part of that, he's going to have to be pretty extraordinary, because I actually finally really know my own value, and I don't seek external validation anymore.
There are two types of single women over 50. One of you, as my girlfriend says, is going to find your person. She found hers. And the other, you might be single for years and years and years. And here's the difference. The women who find their person, their soulmate, their ride or die, their Mr. Right, they believe that he's out there. They are actively deciding to walk in faith and take action and learn and grow, figure out where's the best place to meet men, how to use a dating apps, how to use a profile. They're out there and actively looking for ways to meet him, right? The other woman, She's negative Nelly. The apps suck. There's no good men. They all want younger women. Men are bad. Pooh, yeah. Okay. And I guess there's a third kind, the one who don't care at all. So no matter how much I teach you how to write a great dating profile, if you don't believe, not.
I'm 53, and I've been told by several people over the last year and a half since I've been single that I look intimidating. I'm curious what brings men to that conclusion. I'm still getting myself sorted out for work. I don't like to look like Tammy Faye Baker, if you guys remember who she was. However, I like to look put together. So back to the question at hand. What makes you decide immediately that a woman is intimidating, slash unapproachable, slash I could never talk to this woman? Is it your personal insecurities? Is it her physicality? Aesthetics, obviously how she looks, how she walks, degrees, what car she drives, that kind of thing. I'm just curious why people seem to think I am unapproachable in person. Obviously, people have no problem being an anonymous keyboard warrior and approaching me online, which also brings me pause, but here we are. So, I'm just curious. Why do I look intimidating? And I smile all the time. I'm happy. I'm always joking and laughing, but you guys don't see that, obviously. But other people do that, I interact with in public, and I'm just, curious why men decide immediately that I'm unapproachable.
And I think that is part of why modern dating feels so frustrating. A lot of people say they want love, but what they really want is a person who fits neatly into the fantasy they built after being disappointed. They want somebody who corrects the pain of the ex, makes up for lost time, heals old insecurities, and meets every standard immediately with no awkwardness, no inconvenience, and no humanity. But real people do not show up that clean. Real people come with histories. Real people come with weirdness. Real people come with blind spots. The issue is not that anyone should settle for disrespect, dishonesty, or chaos. Absolutely not. But there is a difference between having healthy standards and expecting another human being to show up as a perfectly customized emotional support package. And I think some of these dating conversations online skip that part. Sometimes the men are the problem. Sometimes the woman is ignoring obvious red flags. Sometimes the woman is asking for things she does not even consistently offer herself. And sometimes both people are just not that compatible. But instead of admitting that, they turn it into a morality play about who failed who.
Hi. So I have another bad date over 50. I should say over 55 because I'm over 55. So I was talking to this guy. We decided we were going to meet, and I was literally dressed in the car on my way to the meeting place when he texts and says, I'm not going to make it. So again, I'm dressed, I'm in the car, I'm on my way out. So I texted somebody else that I had been talking to. Yes, girls do it too because you guys fall off so fast. So I texted another guy and said, hey, my plans changed. You want to meet me? What's going on tonight? So he says, oh, I'm out playing pool with some friends. And here's the address where I'm at if you want to come on down. So I did. I got my glasses on for a little bit. And so I get down there to where he says he's at. I get there and we're sitting at the bar, we're just chit-chatting and whatnot. And I think we both knew that it really wasn't going to go anywhere. So, but my mentality at this point is, I'm already here. We could have a good conversation. He could be interesting, even if it wasn't going to turn into anything. So that's my mentality at that point, that you never know, maybe he knows somebody, whatever. Anyhow, we both knew it wasn't really going to go anywhere. And he says, excuse me, I'm going to go to the restroom. Sorry, my lipstick. So he leaves, goes to the restroom. And I'm sitting at the bar, and his friend from the pool table comes over and he starts talking to me, and he says, we're just going to say John, the date. He says, John told me, really probably isn't going to go anywhere, but he's out back and wants to know if maybe you could go give him a little before you go. And I'm like, what? What? And he just looks at me and he goes, I was absolutely stunned, just stunned. Like my face was probably blank. I just sat there like, did you really just say that?
Cute or embarrassing? Went out with a guy a couple times, wasn't communicative, cut it off. Came back around in my orbit. We went out again, had a great time, and he's been in touch. Asked me out on another date. Looking forward to it. Today, he texts me with a link to this rodeo in Louisiana in sometime in October and says, I want to go to this. So I respond all cute and I say, rodeo? If you're asking me, it's a hell yes, and I already have a cute outfit. Wink emoji, ha 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 emoji. No response. I don't know, it's been like 45 minutes and I haven't heard back. Now I'm wondering, like, did I embarrass myself? Or would you get that I was being cute?
Women are delusional in dating. I say this as a professional matchmaker and as a woman who lived inside delusion for 43 years. And there are many stories that I will share to illustrate this in service of truth and love. But we need to start with a statistic that knocked me out. So a little context first. As a professional matchmaker, people come to me with lists. Eventually, I hope we see that lists do not lead to love, but that is the trend. If I check off all the things on the list, I will find love. Anyways, that's another video. So women often had height, and can you guess the other one on the list? Financial security. And that range for them of what was tall enough or what was rich enough varied, but nonetheless, you would see it often. And I will tell you, no one ever said, I have a healthy, happy relationship because I'm with a tall, rich dude. Ever. Never. That is never the thing. Sure, if you like it, it can be a bonus. But let me tell you, you really need to look at that because here's the stat. Are you ready? If you are wanting a gentleman who is 6 feet tall or above and who makes over $150,000 or above, guess what percent of the dating pool you are dealing with? 1%. You've reduced all the men down to 1% left if you are looking for that. And let me tell you, that guy, that 1%, he has a lot of options. And so every woman thinks she's getting this guy. Wait, and that 1%, oh, this is the most important part. That does not include kindness. That does not include intelligence. That does not include emotional availability. That does not include physical attractiveness. It includes nothing that is important in actually making a relationship last. It doesn't include similar values. You've shrunk your dating pool down to 1%. And I'm going to tell you why none of this matters. But before I do that, we need to really let this sink in. And we need to remember this. This is very easy to forget. When you have a bad date or are struggling with anything in relationships, this statistic, once you understand more context, it will put it in perspective for you.
Dating after 50 is not even heartbreak. It is exhaustion. It is people being tired of nonsense. Tired of strange comments, tired of low effort, tired of people who want attention but not responsibility, tired of the sexual weirdness too early, tired of the bad date stories, tired of the false starts, tired of the endless texting that goes nowhere, tired of the lack of basic courtesy. And I get that. I really do. But I also think there is a danger in spending so much time in bad dating experiences that you start seeing everyone through the lens of your last disappointment. Because then every late text feels like disrespect, every awkward moment feels like a red flag, every imperfection feels like proof that dating is broken, and every person becomes another example of why you should give up. That mindset is understandable, but it can also make people cynical in a way that blocks connection before it even has a chance to breathe. Not every bad date is a villain. Not every mismatch is manipulation. Not every disappointment means there are no good people left. Another thing this video captures really well is that a lot of dating after 50 is not even heartbreak. It is exhaustion. It is people being tired of nonsense. Tired of strange comments, tired of low effort, tired of people who want attention but not responsibility, tired of the sexual weirdness too early, tired of the bad date stories, tired of the false starts, tired of the endless texting that goes nowhere, tired of the lack of basic courtesy. And I get that. I really do. But I also think there is a danger in spending so much time in bad dating experiences that you start seeing everyone through the lens of your last disappointment. Because then every late text feels like disrespect, every awkward moment feels like a red flag, every imperfection feels like proof that dating is broken, and every person becomes another example of why you should give up. That mindset is understandable, but it can also make people cynical in a way that blocks connection before it even has a chance to breathe. Not every bad date is a villain. Not every mismatch is manipulation. Not every disappointment means there are no good people left. And let's also be honest about expectations for a second, because this is where people get uncomfortable. Some women really do have expectations from men that are sky high in ways that are not always grounded. Wanting a kind, stable, emotionally mature, healthy, responsible man is fair. Wanting honesty, effort, and consistency is fair. Wanting someone who has their life reasonably together is fair. But when the list starts turning into this hyper-specific fantasy of height, income, appearance, lifestyle, perfect communication, perfect timing, perfect pursuit, perfect confidence, no baggage, no kids, no flaws, no awkwardness, no healing left to do, then yes, that can become delusion too. Especially if that same woman has baggage, habits, wounds, unrealistic expectations, or parts of herself she has not worked on either. That does not mean women should lower their standards to the floor. It means everybody needs to be honest about the difference between standards and fantasies. A standard is kindness. A fantasy is perfection. A standard is honesty. A fantasy is somebody who says and does everything exactly the way you imagined. A standard is emotional maturity. A fantasy is someone who arrives fully formed with no human mess at all. At the end of the day, I do not think the takeaway is that men are terrible or that women are too much. I think the takeaway is that the dating world itself is producing a lot of confusion because so many people are entering it half-healed, highly defensive, deeply disappointed, and carrying very strong opinions about what they deserve without always having the same clarity about what they offer. And that is why dating feels so hard. Everybody wants peace, but a lot of people still bring chaos. Everybody wants honesty, but a lot of people still hide. Everybody wants effort, but a lot of people want to receive more than they give. Everybody wants emotional maturity, but a lot of people still date from ego, fear, pain, or fantasy. And I think that is the part worth talking about more. Because if you are dating after 50, this is not really about finding perfection. It is about finding someone whose flaws are workable, whose values align, whose energy feels safe, and whose presence actually makes your life better instead of more draining. It is about knowing the difference between a real deal breaker and just an imperfection. It is about not accepting disrespect, but also not expecting a human being to arrive with every single box checked while you are still allowed to be a work in progress. That balance matters. So yes, there are absolutely men out here who are lazy, inappropriate, emotionally unavailable, dishonest, or just plain weird. But there are also women out here who are unrealistic, overly idealistic, hypercritical, or so attached to the fantasy of what a man should be that they miss the difference between a real partner and a paper checklist. And once you can admit that both things are true, the conversation gets a lot more honest. Because the truth is, dating after 50 is hard not just because the options are bad. It is hard because the people in it are human, tired humans, guarded humans, hopeful humans, delusional humans, healing humans, contradictory humans. And when all of that meets in one dating pool, of course it gets messy. So maybe the real goal is not to prove one side is worse. Maybe the real goal is to get honest enough to say what actually matters. What is just ego? What is fear? What is fantasy? And what kind of connection would actually bring peace to the life I already have? But I want to know what you think. Is dating after 50 harder because the dating world is broken in general? Or because too many people want extraordinary partners while staying ordinary in the ways they show up themselves?